Say right, so first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yehoshai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. We said on the apostles and elders agreement so that rule well, our teachers, our apostles in the truth, and we see salutations so the icons, so they push you with no truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season after season. We see Shalom. Once again, good entire video here, and that's basically doing a news update, right? A news update, and how I want to do this news update is a chain of events and and it led up to basically, so the breaking news is that Venezuela was just attacked, right, by America, right. Now the latest news, and I said that I would do it in a chain of events, is that they captured Maduro and his wife, right. Now the reason I want to do it in a chain of events is because it just didn't happen just so. So let me explain what I mean, right? Let's go down here. So let's go to 6 hours ago. Just then, Chinese officials arrived in Venezuela for talks with President Nicolas Maduro. So this was 6 hours ago, right? So they reached to have a talks with him. And I believe when they have this conversation, right, the news came out that the Chinese officials told Maduro that America was going to attack, right? So that is the reason why I say I wanted to do it in a like a chain of events now, right? And they told Maduro when America was going to attack, and then America attacked about an hour after. So this was 6 hours ago, and America attacked. You're getting news 3 hours after, right? I don't believe it's 3 hours after, but I believe it's like a little hour after. The news was broke. The news got this page re-uploaded late, right? This page literally re-uploaded late. So that news that broke out about that news that broke out about China telling them was 6 hours. And let's go now down to this page here to get the news about, right? Let's go down. Let's write 6, 11, 10. Right, so 3 hours, right? So basically, majority of this page I have for 3. I believe it was another page that I saw reposted it like 5 hours, an hour after the news came out about the Chinese official meeting, right? Now, let's go back now. And before I continue, let me bring a precept here. Let's go to the book of Matthew, right? The book of Matthew, chapter 24, and I'll read from verse. Let's read from verse 3. You see, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Question mark, right? He said, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So all these things must come to pass. The wars, rumors of the wars, these things must happen, but the end is not yet, right? For the end is well, far worse, right? Now, as I said, I would do it in the order. It's because if it was looking up in the news, Iran is in the midst. So basically, I believe it's like 5 countries that America have that they want to attack, right? And it had so much of information about Iran yesterday, right? And what it's leading up to. You also saw here, U.S. government tells its citizens to immediately leave Russia due to possibility of terrorism. Another situation that's brewing up is Russia and Germany, right? Now, these are all these things that they're hearing, as I say, wars and rumors of wars. There's so much of tensions in the world right now. You're hearing this country against this country, this kingdom against this kingdom, and those are some of the signs that was given unto us to pay attention to. Now, Venezuela was attacked. There's a lot of people believe that this was not going to happen, especially the Jakes on the island here. They literally believe that I remember a guy and no, even straight down into this moment, he didn't believe that America was going to attack, that it would not have any any of this. You understand? He just believed that they just talk. right? But you saw what happened. So it's a explosions reported in Venezuela. Now let's go up, right? So we start with the Chinese visiting, telling them that it would have the attack, and let's go up, right? Let's go up. It's a southern part of Venezuela, capital Caracas, experiencing a complete power outage, right? It's a U.S. Air Force disables nearly all its transponders, right? And if it's been keeping up, so there's a trick here, ISO, right? When I continuing to watch, basically watch all these news and things, that this is something they was playing with the transponders, because this is what has struck the airplanes, and it has certain times throughout the months when they was flying around Venezuela, they keep on cutting it off, and that was basically just doing the testing, right? It's a major explosion seen in Venezuela amid suspect U.S. military strikes. Now let's go up a little bit. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro declares national emergency. It says Venezuela says the goal of the U.S. attack is to take possessions of Venezuela oil and minerals, and that's right. You understand? That is what they want. But it also goes to the hatred that they have for Israel, that they have for Jake, right? Esau against Israel, right? That perpetual hatred that they have for us. Now, going up, it says Fox News confirms the United States launch attacks on Venezuela. It says Venezuela orders mobilization of forces to counter the U.S. imperialist attack. So let's go up. There's another thing. It says Cuba condemns U.S. attack on Venezuela. Colombian President Petro says the U.S. struck the Venezuelan parliament building. Right now, coming back up here, it's a Chinese President Xi Jinping's special envoy met with Venezuelan President Maduro in Caracas shortly before U.S. strikes. So you see, pay attention to this, because this is very important news as well. Because remember, one of the countries that America in tensions with is China, right? So pay attention to that. It is currently unknown whether Chinese officials are still in the country witnessing the attack. So it is unknown as right now. So let's go up. It says just in Iran condemns U.S. attack on Venezuela. Now pay attention to this. This is a very important one here, because we understand the snare, right? And Trump, right, is been drawn out by Israel that want to go into a war with Iran, right? Then this conversation has been heavily talked about the day before, right? There's a lot of stuff happening. Like if you're paying attention to Iran right now, protesters on the street, all these things, and they were Mossad agents. Let me see if I get it here. Does this page have it? Mossad agents. Nope, they don't. Let's go to another news page. I believe they have it, because I remember seeing it here. Mossad. Right? Israel Mossad tells Iranian protesters, we are with you, right? So that is something that they had the Mossad agents within the protests going on in Iran, right? They had agents, and they were actually celebrating that. Now let's finish up the scripture. This is Matthew 24. It's verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Now, if you've been paying attention to the news, there's a lot of these things happening right now, right? But they say nation shall rise against nation, and we're seeing that. There's so much of countries and tensions with one another right now. Anything can happen at any moment. As this president, I believe is the president of Finland or one of these places, they said that we're living in a time where anything could break out, anything could happen. Is close to the edge, basically, right? So it goes to show how serious the time that we are in. So you say, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Now this is Venezuela being attacked earlier yesterday morning, right? Which would have been the second morning, the 2nd of January, right? Mexico went through a powerful earthquake. So we've seen these signs playing out. And that is what I'm drawing, right? So let's go up again. Let's go up back in the news. It says Venezuela government calls for mobilization of the population after U.S. attack. Now, I want to go up here. So this is all these is videos of the airstrikes, right? All these is videos of the airstrikes. Say military base, airbase, seaport hit in U.S. strikes against Venezuela, right? And right now there's a lot of countries that are coming out against this attack, right? But the man of sin is being revealed, right? It's a Iran condemns American military, right? So Iran, this come back up here. So this is the news I'm coming to. Venezuela Maduro was captured by Delta Force, the U.S. military elite special mission unit, right? Now the reason this is important thing because what's the track record? Venezuela didn't release all the planes, they do nothing, and America came in, right? Now yesterday morning, Maduro basically gave up, right? It had an article that came out in the news that Maduro was having talks and so forth. So we have to wait and see when the news came out because Trump said he holding a press conference 11 a.m. about, obviously, he's coming out to pay lies and so forth. But the way how it's looking and some of the conversation I was reading is that he gave up himself. Because the day before I remember seeing the news about him wanted to have a conversation about certain things. And by this year, you could see most likely he must give up himself and tell him to attack. The plan, right? So going up, it's a U.S. President Trump to hold news conference on Venezuela at 11 a.m., right? On Venezuela, sorry. It's a U.S. State Department Deputy Chief declares new dawn, right? Colombia President says troops deployed on the Venezuela border. Venezuela announces mass deployment of its military resources, defense minister. So when you watch it, they know deploying their defenses after Maduro was taken. So most likely that is why some of the conversation is being held is that Maduro gave up himself, right? And basically how they would do it, obviously they will make it look like they attack and make it look like this and so forth. No American casualties. President Trump says the U.S. has carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and captured President Maduro. Right. So this is 25 seconds. Russia says U.S. military action in Venezuela deeply concerning and condemnable. So right now there's a lot of news coming out with the countries around the world, right? And these top leaders, they against what it is America did. Even the people in America, they didn't know because usually they would have to announce it to, I believe it's the parliament, right, or the senate or something along those lines, and he did not. He just went straight in, right? So whatever deal may be cut and so forth, it happened, right? So it goes to show, as I say, a quick news briefing about what's going on, and more news came out. Obviously, videos will be done, but hey, tensions are high, right? There's a lot of talk about war in the air, Russia, America in the midst, China, right? Iran, would pay attention to that one especially, right? Because why? Talks being held. I believe it's 5 nations America want to attack, and they attack one right now. So with that, once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. He said, "Abang sa person, I don't have much in rule or teachers or person should." And it's a salutation, so yeah, comes to the push who don't know truth and sincerity. Day in and day out and constantly in season. The season we say, Shalom.